Good afternoon, everybody. It's me, Chris, and I'm making this little video all about sort of a basic overview of the new style of workouts in the gym. You'll have to excuse me, these tired eyes. Been up since about 4:30 this morning. We're all scrambling round, making sure everything is done to a high standard at the moment, and it's going to be a very busy. Uh, 3 or 4 days for the team. But I'm going to dive straight in. Just to let you know, in case you haven't seen the post, we are going to make an actual video walkthrough of the gym itself. We'll release some. We've got like a document to put together, which outlines the sort of basic etiquette and expectations that we have of you, as well as the kind of standards you should expect from us. Um, and when we do the video walkthrough of the gym, it'll make a little bit more sense to those of you who've been in the gym before, like, right, I go in there, I do this. But for now, there's sort of three things I want to go through in this video. Number one is the like a basic session overview, which you can see on screen here. Then I'm going to go into the themes and the formats, which we've completely reinvented. And then I'm going to explain visually on my little iPad and iPen how this pod concept works. So I mean, you guys won't be aware of it. We have had for years this idea of how we run through sessions. And because I like alliteration, um, basically, so my video of me will disappear from time to time as I start scrolling. Um, but basically, because I like alliteration, we've got welcome, warm up, whiteboard, workout, wind down, and wave off. And that's like the sequence that you guys experience when you come to the gym. And this is actually the same sequence that you experience with our online sessions. But the component parts are slightly different. Anyway, when you arrive, you're going to be the details about like only coming 5 minutes before, that'll all come separately. I just want to kind of give you a simple overview. You're going to arrive, the coach will show you to your pod, and there's a certain way we're going to do that because there's going to be weights in the pods, but don't worry about that for now. The kit that's in your pod, there'll be 2 or 3 weights. You can sanitize those if you want. There'll be sanitizer, sorry, not sanitize, disinfectant in the pod with a cloth. The kit will have been disinfected previously, either by a coach or from one of the previous clients, but you are welcome, if you feel more comfortable doing that, to just quickly give your bits of kit a wipe down. The coach may need to wear a mask when you guys arrive, just in case they have to break the social distancing guidelines. If you want to turn up in a mask, it's absolutely fine. We're going to release some more information on masks later, but as a general rule, you don't want to be wearing one whilst working out. Yeah, pods will be, so these are just notes from me. Your personal belongings will be kept on you in your pod. Warm up. So the coach will lead the warm up from his or her own pod. One of the themes you'll come across is there isn't going to be a huge amount of movement from the coach around the gym like previously, just because we obviously can't engage in hands-on coaching. That'll become more apparent as we go through this. And the whiteboard element, obviously you've got a big portable whiteboard. I will show you shortly where the coach is going to actually stand to lead these sessions. But there's obviously, we've got a portable whiteboard, so it'll explain the workout, demo the exercises. There will be some mini whiteboards dotted around for the more complex sessions, just as little cues for people in case they can't see that well, or forget what some of the exercises are during the workouts. But the main thing is to be really attentive and make sure you're listening, especially as you won't be huddled around the coach like previously. And if you're at the back, you're going to have to make sure you're listening properly. Obviously, the workout takes place. Coach, when I say will only move if necessary, not going to be stood there rigid, but they're not going to be like constantly back and forwards going around everyone. If someone looks like they're really struggling with form, the coach will come over and if necessary, to put a mask on, because obviously if a coach comes closer to a client or needs to actually come a bit closer to you, as long as you're comfortable with it, and to help with technique, there's a whole kind of like mitigation thing with going sub 2 meters on the social distancing. And then the wind down, that's basically the cool down. You're doing your pods, stretch off, etc., etc. And you will be expected. I've put sanitize in here. This shows how much kind of we're all just living and breathing this stuff and tripping over words, you'll be expected to disinfect your 2 or 3 pieces of equipment before leaving your pod. That is a compulsory thing, and it's also respectful for the next clients going to the gym. And then the wave off, which is the only thing I could think of, begins with W, to sort of say as you leave. The coach will instruct or direct. Sorry, my cat's just turned up. Instruct or direct in what order to leave, etc., etc. It won't be any kind of dilly-dallying. And all we ask is that you don't hang around to chat to the coach. If you've got questions, save them up, message them, post in the group, post to Innovate Crew, whatever you like. We don't want to seem that we don't want to engage with you guys, but we cannot have you hanging around in the gym. If it's only not even for I just need 2 minutes, because we're having to put less classes on with bigger spaces in between them, and in that space between classes, there's also bits of cleaning and hygiene that the coaches must get done before the next group of clients arrive. And we ask you not to hog the car park. You might be tempted to kind of do your little catch up in the car park, but obviously if other cars are arriving, we don't want to upset the landlord. So that's it in principle. Hopefully that kind of helps make sense conceptually in your head. As I say, we're going to do a little video walkthrough, and like anything, once you've been and done this a couple of times, it'll become second nature. So in terms of theme, we've got 7 themes. So previously, at the moment with the gym, and then we moved to online workouts. We've got our MRT, our strong woman, and our, I think it's cardio. For the gym stuff, we've had to reinvent how we deliver the workouts. Partly because we wanted to sort of provide something new and fresh. Partly because the current formats won't work very well. These new formats are only applicable to gym at the moment, but once we've kind of got these bedded in, we'll look at rolling out some of these new formats to the online classes as well, because it's kind of approaching the time that we want to freshen that up as well. Keep those of you who are doing online classes interested, and plenty of novelty in there. So 7 different themes, 7 days of the week, and you'll see how they spread across the week shortly. So you've got cardio and core. This we'll probably post this document up so I don't have to read it all out. HIRT, or HIRT, high intensity resistance training. So that's a little bit similar to some of the metabolic resistance training we were doing before, but more sort of interval based rather than circuit based. Metabolic pulse training. So that's all the things like ladders and pyramids, coming in sort of short bursts of exercise for each set that can kind of build on each other. Kettlebell probably gives it away in terms of that's going to be a kettlebell focused workout. Probably the most versatile piece of exercise equipment you can get. Strong Woman Plus. So we're just kind of building on a type of session that I know a lot of you guys enjoy. A little bit slower, focusing on the heavier weights, great for toning up, and more sort of technique based. Triblast. So that's kind of a revamped version of what we used to call turbulence training, where you've got 3 different modalities: 1 cardio, 1 strength, 1 core, all mixed together in different sort of time increments. And then, so that's 6, 7. We've got Focus Day. We couldn't really think of a better word than this. We're sort of a secret or mystery. But basically, what we're going to do 1 day a week is have a bit of a fun day, a random day. And throw in a few kind of different workouts that fall outside the overall themes. So, for example, if the focus day is a Friday 1 week, we'll probably put on quite a bit of a giggle trying to sort of think about this as a team. But we might have a bingo wing basher day where we absolutely hammer the arm. Half the workout will be devoted to the arms. Probably won't be able to lift your arms for a few days. Another day we might do just a complete abs session. Doing lots of volume on one body part isn't a particularly great way of doing fitness on a consistent basis, but what we've decided is actually that'll be a bit of fun. It allows the sort of programming to kind of get a bit expansive, and I think you guys will enjoy having a kind of a bit of novelty and surprise thrown in there. This is the initial format. Again, don't worry if I'm just throwing loads of things up on screen and you're struggling to sort of read it whilst listening to me, but basically, this is week commencing 3rd of August. So you've got cardio and core, then HIRT or HIRT, MPT, kettlebell, focus day. So that's a booty firm, and Nathan's put that in there. Strongman Plus, and then Triblast. And then what you'll see is the next week, all the sessions kind of shift along, kind of one. So cardio was Monday that week, it's a Tuesday that week, it's a Wednesday that week, it's a Thursday that week, etc., etc.
Sorry, I'm having trouble here.
Oh, Siri's trying to talk to me. The Triblast is a Monday one week, etc., etc. So you can see these patterns, and what that allows us to do is make sure that whichever day you come, if you've got fixed days, over the course of, we do this in kind of 13, 14 week periods, which is 3 months, you will kind of get exposed to a complete and utter mixture, and hopefully a fairly balanced mix of session types. One thing you will notice in here is some of these will say PP, and this is our power pod concept. So if I just go back to, I'll come back to these notes in a second, but in essence, you'll see the timetable go up, and if it's a PP day, a power pod day, or a power pod session, sorry, you'll know that it's a slightly different workout format, and I'm going to explain that to you now. So you've got here, PP stands for power pods. These are pods or areas that we fill with equipment we can't currently use in every session, such as rows, bikes, skipping ropes, benches, wall bars, wall balls, and the boxing sessions, which will take place in some of these. So look out for those on the timetable. What that means, let me grab my iPad. Got these funky Apple pens, and I've drawn this out for you. Just make sure my pen is working. It is. So this is kind of a layout of the gym. The first thing to bear in mind, just put the laptop back. Got far too many pieces of technology on the go. First thing to bear in mind is this space here is much bigger. It's not as narrow as this. All these pods are kind of shifted along to the left. I've just not drawn it out very well. However, what you need to know is, obviously you can see the toilets up here, so, and the rigs here, so you know where you are. And the coach, sorry, the writing, I'm writing with an Apple pen, not a normal pen. Coach is going to go there, okay? So that's the position that the coach is going to lead the session from. As you can see, we've got 5 pods there, 5, 5, 5, and 5, which is a total of 25 pods. Now, we can therefore, in fact, I'll come on to that in a second, each of these pods is 1 metre apart from each other. I think a lot of you have seen that. And the centre of these pods are actually, oh, it won't let me draw that for some reason. The centre of these pods are 3, won't let me draw that, I'll draw it from here. There, the centre of these pods, if you like, are 3 metres, because the pod is 2 metres across. So when you're stood in the centre of your pod, you'll be 3 metres from the pod next to you, and the same applies that way. Okay, so we've gone over and above with the social distancing. I'm just going to delete some of those off, so I've got a clean thing to work with. Right, so obviously these are pods, they're taped on the floor. When you come in, you'll be asked to go to a specific pod. We're still figuring out whether to how to position the weights in each of the pods. So we might say, like, the heavier weights get put in these ones, and then if you're saying, when you come in, you say, yeah, I'm strong, or I want something heavier, you'll be directed to these pods. Maybe if you're new, you'll stand at the front, like a B for beginner. We're still figuring that out, but the coach will guide you, point you, direct you when you arrive. Now, the main thing to consider is you're not allowed during exercise classes to like move around, like constantly be moving around, which is why circuit training things are banned. Everyone is going to be facing the front. That's another piece of the guidelines. You can't have clients kind of facing each other. Facing someone's back is absolutely fine. Everyone's going to be staring at the coach. It's going to be a little bit like a DJ booth, a nightclub almost. I want to introduce you to our power pod concept. So some sessions that aren't power pods, like you'll just literally will have people in them. Okay, and obviously we'll try and fill it up properly. But in theory, we could have people. I'm not going to draw in all these. You could have someone in 25 different pods. At some point, once we're happy with our session delivery, we may have that many people in a class. And if that sounds a lot, trust me, we are going over and above the social distancing guidelines. There's more than enough ventilation, which we're going to release information on. And it actually feels and looks like there's more space now than there was before because of the way the gym's set out. But to begin with, we're going to limit the classes. In some sessions, these at the back, this is now the back of the gym, are going to be called power pods. Power pods. That's our cheesy name. And what that means is that some sessions, like if we're doing boxing, I've got to be careful how I drew this. I drew this in the gym and it looked a bit rude, and that's fine. That's a boxing punch bag, okay? And for boxing sessions, each of these pods will have punch bag in. Okay, that's a punch bag, etc., etc. And what it means is that there will be nobody starting in these pods. We'll only have people in these, and these, assuming it fills up. And then what will happen during, like everyone will do a workout in their pod. So they're doing like a workout, and these people will come down to this pod and they might do 5 minutes on the punch bag. They won't just be like endless punching. We'll put like a sequence in there, and then what will be, the coach will shout or explain that like after 5 minutes stop, and then you will be quickly, there'll be some disinfectant. You'll be expected to just wipe the bag down, give this bag a wipe very, very quickly, and then you'll return to your pod. And then that allows, in the next workout, you'll start working out in here, and then this person will come down to the power pod and use the power pod piece of equipment. And then after 5 minutes or 6 minutes or whatever, you'll wipe it down quickly, disinfectant, COVID secure, keep everyone happy, you'll come back to your pod. And then this person will come down and use the punch bag. So hopefully you get the gist of it. The idea is that some equipment, because we can't have circuit style training, and equipment that is shared, like the power pod equipment, has to be clean between uses. This is the kind of way we've come up with of allowing a lot of the equipment to be used. So what would go in a, let's see if I can come up, what would go in a power pod station? So what would go in a power pod? It would be things like rowers one day. Another day might be the bikes, might be wall balls. Oh, everyone says horrible minging exercise. Boxing, get the barbells out for some landmines. Some of you might remember those exercises, landmines. Anything where we haven't got like enough equipment, like we can't have 25 rows in the gym. It's like a bonus station, if you like. As I say, some sessions we won't be having any power pods. It'll just be people in there as well. But hopefully that makes sense. So when we go back to this overview, you can see first week of the first session, the first day is a cardio and core, and it's a power pod day, and it's a rowing day. On the Thursday, it's a boxing day. The following week, it's going to be on the Saturday, and I think there's just one on the Saturday, etc., etc. The Friday, the following week, is a spin, so we can use the bikes. That Tuesday there's landmines. You get the picture. So hopefully that makes sense. I know a load of you like to have a whinge that content is long, and it's not like 10 seconds long. But we wanted to give you a good overview of basically the session flow. Not that much different to what we're doing at the moment, apart from less movement. The new themes, what they mean. I'll post this up. We'll post this up as well, what the actual timetable is. And then obviously this concept of power pods. Hopefully that gives you a brief overview. If you've got any questions, post them below. We're going to put this video in the Facebook group and on the website so that people can access it. And yeah, hope you're as excited about doing this as we are. Speak soon.